Life isn't perfect, and neither are we.
Nope. But we know how to face our fears
And have some fun.
and talk about all the messiest things of life.
Like the messiest things.
Get connected to yourself, get connected to others, and get connected to the life right in front of you.
This is The Connected Life with Justin and Abby.
That's me.
That's you.
And you.
Welcome back to The Connected Life.
Oh, hey there.
I'm assuming you had just listened to the previous episode, so we're back again.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Welcome back.
But if you haven't been
If
here
this is
before,
brand new, then go listen to another episode before this one so that you can feel welcomed while we say welcome back.
Oh, goodness. Hey, I did something morbid this week.
Dun,
Fun
dun, dun.
and morbid.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because some of our friends have, when they found out, laughed hysterically, and then some of them almost started crying.
It was pretty funny. So we've been working on our last will and testament.
Yes.
Yeah, the old Willy Will.
I don't want the government getting any of my crap.
Yeah, so go write a will right now if you don't want the government getting your crap.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, and
Which, by the way, I feel so adult.
It feels very adult, doesn't it?
I feel like I'm like a real life. We don't have kids. That's when most people feel like an adult, is when they have a kid.
Yeah.
Mine is when we make a will.
Mm-hmm. In case the worst case scenario happens.
Yes.
So with that worst case scenario, I was having to put together like a special file system with some of the last things that I want.
Yeah. Your last wishes.
Mm-hmm, things like that. And so I sat down and made a 30-some minute video.
To be played at your funeral.
At my funeral, the last words that I want everyone to hear out of my mouth.
Which is hysterical because the first 6 minutes of it was you just joking about being dead. It was hysterical, though.
My greatest dream in the end is that people laugh at me.
At you at your funeral. That's true. We just had your birthday and people were laughing at you and you loved it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think we should go out. And I think a person should go out with a lot of happy feelings. Everyone should go away with happiness as they grieve on their way out. And I said some really profound things in the middle of it.
I don't know because I haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
I only saw the funny parts. I
did let you see the funny part. Enough that you were breathing pretty hard.
Oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I'll feel watching it when you're dead. I actually think I'll feel delighted. Like it will tickle my soul because
assuming
it's
I go first,
who you are.
I want to say I'm going to outlive you, but then I'm like, that's horrible and morbid. Yeah, sure. You'll watch the video, right? But it was very interesting, like going on the process of talking about mortality and things like that. And I also had to censor myself because I was like,
I could really hurt some people's feelings.
Well, yeah. I mean, right now, do I make a video where I talk about certain people that I'm close to and I love them, and then we have a big falling out and it's kind of like awkward because it's like, oh, they really betrayed you in the end there. Jump the gun on adding them to it.
Oh, but I think it'd be so great if you talked about people in that and then they betrayed you and then they had to watch it.
The love that I had. Yeah. But I'm going to make addendums throughout the years to the video. So there'll be
extra
additions.
videos.
Mm-hmm.
This is an addition for these friends. This is an addition for... That's so cute.
But at least the first video is done. So that's what my week has been. But also we shared with our friends and they were like, they watched the first part of it and they went through like...
They were like, this is crazy. I don't like watching this about you dying.
Because it's really funny, but also I'm really sad all of a sudden.
Yeah, but then they laughed and they enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and
they
thought you were weird. I've realized that I like quirky people.
What do you mean?
Well, I was just saying it's something I enjoy in life is quirky people.
Are you calling me quirky?
Yep, 100%. I am saying you are so quirky.
I really am. Yeah. Why? Why do you say that?
Oh, well, like you made a video for your funeral and you want to create extra videos.
Yeah, but who wouldn't do that if they didn't have some foresight?
You also have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle diorama sitting 2 feet away from you.
Yeah, it's true. But who wouldn't do that if they weren't terrified of facing death?
You're terrified of facing death?
No, I'm saying if you're not terrified, like most people are scared of talking about death and even thinking about it, so they don't want to make videos
and you're
like that.
I'm not scared.
I'm not scared of that. I want to be proactive because I want my last words to be my last words.
You're a good planner.
I am. I really am. So, besides my inevitable death that will happen at some point, what do you want to talk about today? Do you want to talk about this LaCroix passion fruit that's like my new favorite LaCroix?
Is that your new favorite? That's I don't know why we're talking about LaCroix.
We don't need to, but it is my new favorite.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I bought a pack.
We're going to talk about our life.
No.
Our lives.
No.
Humanity's lives. People's lives.
We're going to talk about, okay, I'm going to frame it. We are going to talk about the 3 different styles of surviving the planet. And one of them is self-sufficiency.
Oh.
One of them is needy, greedy. And then one of them is self-sufficiency and needy.
Okay, just so y'all know, I didn't know that this is what we were going to get into, so this is surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, you knew the basics, just we were talking about self-sufficiency, but those are the 3 different styles, I think.
Self-sufficiency being uberly needy, and then self-sufficient needy?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's neat.
I guess we should have a happy one that is like healthy or something.
Well, we'll figure that out along the way.
Yeah, we'll give you guys, there'll be a good name for that part as we go.
We'll figure it out as we go. So you want to start this off?
Yeah, I mean, I just think one of the things that me and Justin have had to spend years of our personal lives working through is self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because self-sufficiency can look so different for so many people. Self-sufficiency could look like I never let anybody know what's going on with me, or I always pretend to be happy, or I always help everyone else and I never have needs. Or it could be like, I mean, like my friends thought I was vulnerable for years and I let them love me, but there was pockets inside that I didn't let myself be vulnerable and have needs.
Let me specify something for you people listening, because self-sufficiency, when we hear self-sufficiency, it's easy to think, oh, someone who is very capable inside of themselves. But I believe that self-sufficiency and being capable are 2 very different things.
Totally.
Being self-sufficient is a heart posture, right? It's what we believe, like, oh, I'm the one that has to do it all on my own. I can't trust other people with this stuff. And I don't need anyone. Like, it's a self-protection mechanism. Whereas capable is like, no, I show up. I'm powerful. I'm able. I'm not waiting for someone else to do life for me. And so being capable is a very powerful, good thing. Being self-sufficient is a heart posture that's very destructive and causes a lot of abandonment, experiences of abandonment and disconnection.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about also self-sufficiency. When you said it's a heart posture, that's so true. Because really, one of the things that I have seen is, I'll give some examples about personal self-sufficiency.
Yeah, sure. And then I'll talk about me being broken away from out of self-sufficiency.
Yeah. The journey out is such a fun journey to get out of self-sufficiency. But so, I know you've seen it happen for lots of people who are super, super capable, and then maybe like they break both legs, or that's so morbid. But like people will go through a circumstance where all of a sudden they can't be in charge the way that they were before. They can't be taking care of everyone the way they were before, and they have to let people help them. They have to let people love them, and it feels like hell, but that's actually how you get hell ripped out of you. Yeah, is to let love in. But so here's a great one of self-sufficiency for me. I grew up feeling like I wasn't really sure if anyone was going to provide for me. I'm like, I got to meet my own needs, right? I got to take care of myself. So when we get married, we end up having a marriage where there's been seasons where you worked and I didn't, and seasons where I worked and you didn't, and seasons where we both worked, right?
This is true.
We've had all those seasons. No matter what season we're in, though, I always felt like if I wasn't doing something, our ship was going to fail.
Yes.
So even when you were working and I wasn't, I still was in self-sufficiency. Like, I have to figure out how to contribute, and I have to and I'm still spinning on the inside instead of like relaxing and letting go of control. So this is why people can make a ton of money, and you think like, oh, if I become a millionaire, then I won't worry about money anymore. But it's actually your inside belief systems that affect you way more than your external circumstances. So in this last season where I haven't been able to work as much again, I've been recognizing how much self-sufficiency there is. And even yesterday, just got called on it by some friends of ours where they were like, why are you wanting to start this? I was going to launch this whole new thing. And they're like, why do you want to do that right now? We thought this was a season for you to rest for your body. And I immediately knew like, oh, it's because I feel so out of control, not being in charge, not like I need to be in charge of you, but making sure that our lives are moving forward, making sure that progress is happening, making sure that I'm doing something. And I remember actually the feeling, there's been different times.
So you haven't been at the driver wheel for a lot of the last 2 years in aspects.
Yeah. But even though I haven't been at the driver wheel, that doesn't mean that I fully let go of self-sufficiency.
So your heart posture hasn't let go of the wheel. So it's like it is
slowly. The grip is lessening.
At some level, you've been in the passenger seat grabbing onto the wheel.
So
like,
hard.
No.
I don't know where this is going. I need to help. I need to help. Yeah.
Totally.
And then there were times in our marriage where I just was like, I wish my husband was just a super rich entrepreneur where I never had to work or worry about anything. And there were lots of seasons like that. I remember when I met you being vastly disappointed that you didn't have this huge career because
good thing I don't have any ego.
I know, right? Well, I'm saying this right now, but I was thinking like, I wanted a man who knew where he was going and making money. Really what I wanted was a father, a dad.
Right.
Because I didn't want to have to figure out who I was. I didn't want to have to figure out how to make money on my own. I didn't want to have to figure out what my destiny or life purpose was. I wanted to be able to ride the coattails of someone else. So I've had both the feelings of resenting you for it.
For not coming to the table with
so that I could let go of self-sufficiency, and then the feelings of you stepping up to the plate and me still not letting go. So
Totally.
Basically it was a lose-lose for you.
Yeah, a tremendous lose-lose.
But that's what self-sufficiency is like. And that's what self-sufficiency is like. The little kid in me that grew up feeling like I have to be in control because no one's going to take care of me. No one's going to see. No one's going to make sure that things are okay. I need to take care of my parents. And so that feeling of I need to be on or else something bad is going to happen. That is literally the programmed normal emotions for me.
Yeah. And at the root of all of that is a sense of control. I'm needing control. Self-sufficiency is that control of whether it's I'm controlling how I'm protected by the way people come and go in my life, or I'm controlling external circumstances and feeling safe in that way.
Or even just the emotion of control.
Totally.
Because like the last 2 years, I've had the emotion of control where I like feel like I need to control what's happening in our world, but I have no follow through capacity. I'm like, I want to control things. I have to lay in bed.
Totally. I know that for me, in regards to self-sufficiency, I look at my my historic life, and I always walked into every room with a sense of I am the biggest, most capable person inside of this room, emotionally, relationally. And I carried that through even in my seasons of growth and healing and development. It was like no one else is going to have an emotional capacity to take care of me. So I'm going to have to figure out how to heal myself, how to be a powerful person all on my own. Not only because people aren't capable, also the people who could be capable wouldn't want to.
Right.
So it's this very big survival mode that you live inside of. You're just surviving every day. And what you end up doing,
you recreate that pattern
over and over again. And what you create with self-sufficiency is a deep sense of abandonment. I am alone in life. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. Nobody can take care of me. I have to do it on my own. It's this, I am alone. And so there's a lot of people who feel deeply lonely all because of their relationship with self-sufficiency.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could be surrounded by people and you could have people loving you all the time. Like, but if you don't, it's like we have this gate on the inside of us. And if we don't open that gate up to receive the love that is coming in, if we don't take advantage of it, and if we don't let our guard down. I know for me in this last season, so one of the ways I used control, I wasn't really sure what mood I was going to get with my parents growing up. And so I built a lot of control systems. Like, I'm not going to share my feelings unless the person across from me feels really safe, is really calm, asks me a lot of questions. Like,
feels very capable in every way. They're already fully stable. They don't really need anything from you. Or
I have like all these hoops that they have to jump through in order for me to feel safe enough to let down my guard. And so in this last season where I've been facing, I like to call it the great aloneness, which is that place of aloneness in my soul. Because I've come to recognize, and I think a lot of people have a great aloneness, where they felt alone as a kid, because most families aren't teaching connection and communication, and don't know how to validate and be with someone in their pain and not just try to fix it. And so because there's not very many families that know how to create those skills, it's a skill set. It's not, it's just a skill set. But because families don't know that, I think a lot of people have a great aloneness. And the beautiful thing is, we get to redeem that, and we get to transform that and reparent. But so for me, it started to look like in this last season where I would feel such deep aloneness, I gave up the control on needing people to be safe or look right. I mean, obviously I don't want them to be jerks. Like, I'm not going to like go up to a jerkwad and be like, love me. But like, I started like just my friends being like, I am going to process, and I'm going to cry, and I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to let you hold me. And it doesn't even matter if you're good at this or not. I'd been waiting for someone else to be loving and safe enough for me to let down my guard.
To meet this standard and
to meet my needs. But I recognized, actually, I just need to let down my guards. There's very little I need from the other person. I just need them to be kind, compassionate, and physically affectionate. Like, just hold me while I cry. That's really all I needed.
Right.
And I could tell my friends that. And all my friends were willing to hold me while I cried. But it was the idea of letting go of my internal posture of, I have to be on, I have to be protecting myself, I have to be strong, I have to be powerful. All of those lies that I believed. And it is painful. It's vulnerable. Really what we're saying is vulnerability. And the reason self-sufficiency screws up our life so much is you cannot have fulfilling intimacy or comfort without vulnerability.
Right. And intimacy being a relational connection, a depth of heart connection with another person. I say that as a side note because there's some clients that I've met with where
think of that as sex.
And people always think intimacy is sex, but it is a heart connection, an exchange of these vulnerable places inside of ourselves that we put on the table and we say, hey, I give you permission to see me fully and even affect me. And that is to me, the foundation of true intimacy inside of relationship. So what was I saying?
I don't know what you were saying, but what I was saying was really good. All of our souls need comfort and connection. That is the thing that I find, like, if you have a porn addiction that you don't want to be having, or if you are a drunk, or if you feel out of
an
alcoholic, or you're a shopaholic, or really whatever bad behavior we have, it typically comes from this place of pain that we're avoiding. And that typically comes from aloneness. And so intimacy and vulnerability really is the gatekeeper to that.
So there's this element of trust, like the idea of trust. So I had to, for me, when it comes to letting people pass that gate, I had to accept and trust that people will fail me. Instead of like it was almost like, oh no, I can't trust people. They might fail me. No, I trust that they will. And that's okay because people are messy. I am messy. And I began to accept the love that people have the capacity to give. I talk about the idea that we as human beings are a shattered mirror reflecting to our best the unconditional love of God that we have the capacity to reflect. And so there's ways that we'll reflect it. And it's not a full expression of it, but there's certain levels of it that we can reflect. And so there's this element of going, I trust that people are messy, and I trust that there's love that they're going to have a capacity to reflect. And I'm going to be in a posture to receive that regardless of the extra messiness that might come with it. And I said this to someone the other day. I said, look, you are guaranteed to feel rejected. You are guaranteed to feel abandoned. You are guaranteed to feel lonely in relationship with self-sufficiency. However, when you let go of your friendship with self-sufficiency, again, they're going to have people reject, abandon. That stuff's still going to happen, but you have the best chance at getting love in, because there is no source of love over here when you're all alone on this lonely island, but there's still an abundance of love that you're going to be able to collect even in the midst of people's humanity.
Yeah.
So there's like a special gift inside of it. The lie that we believe, though, is that my self-sufficiency is protecting me from all of these things. Like, oh no, I'm being self-sufficient, so I'm good, I'm okay, I don't need anyone, I don't feel bad. No, but you do. And that's where the medicative state of destructive behavior comes into your life, is from this place of I'm all self-sufficient and I don't need anything.
One of the things I was thinking about is the people who like surround themselves with people.
Right.
But you can have people around you. You can even have needs with people. But if they're not vulnerable needs, then you don't get to experience being with someone.
Why don't you explain really quick, maybe just briefly, needs? Because I think sometimes I hate the word needs because it sounds like you have to have it in order to survive. And I haven't yet found a better language for needs. Sometimes I veer into wants, but...
Yeah, we could call it wants. But I think there's some core, and we talk about this in the Compassion Project, but there's some core human desires that everybody has, like to be loved, to be seen, to be protected, to be known, to be pursued. Like there's things like that. So wants or needs could be like, hey, it could be anything from like, I'm so sick. Do you think you could pick up some groceries for me? For me, learning how to be needy would be...
A sense of care.
Yeah, a sense of care.
A sense of care is a good one to express it.
But like one thing I would say, like I would have people offer to make me food or something when I was sick. And I would always say no.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
And we turn down something where there's actually a need or something that would make us feel cared or taken care of, helped out, and we reject it.
People often feel shame if they can't do something on their own.
It's great.
And they don't want to look weak, and they don't want to look. And here's what I was going to say, the needy person. People are so scared of looking needy or becoming needy that they push back and they won't allow people to love them.
Right.
But I have seen this happen so many times. I had this friend who was like that. She was so scared of being needy that she would never have a voice. But then let's say that we're like deciding where we want to eat, and it's like we're like, where do you want to eat? And she's like, I don't care.
Whatever you want to do.
And then let's say that we're like, okay, we're gonna go get Thai, and then she pouts for the rest of the night because she actually really wanted Taco Bell, but she didn't want to tell us.
Right.
But now it does actually cost us, because now we're like, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's going on?
No, I'm good.
And then the people who don't want to be a problem end up going on
and they end up
no, I'm fine. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this would have taken 2 minutes if you just would have had a need or a voice.
I have a need here. Yeah. And I was going to say that the majority of needy people are rooted in the fact that they don't appropriately have needs.
Yes.
And so they're on an empty tank, and then they're like, no one cares about me.
Yeah.
And then they feel so unfulfilled. They're not taking care of themselves, and they're not allowing themselves to be taken care of when the offer shows up.
Well, and really needy people have poverty mentality, which is my needs are never going to get met. So I think about me. I think, I have friends who want to listen to me. So if I have a conversation with a friend who's listening, I don't feel like I have to talk for 3 hours straight. No. Because I don't think this is the only time I'm ever going to be heard.
And you guys have all been out there. You've been around, and everyone knows someone who talks, and you love conversing with them, but they become these over talkers, and it feels like they're just devouring your soul. And you're like, oh my God, I came away so exhausted from that person. They talked at me the entire time. And it's because somewhere inside of that person, they don't believe that there's more. Or what they are getting, or what they are receiving, they're not letting it land.
They're not letting it in.
So when people do love on them, do listen, they're not allowing it to actually mean something, affect them, and be like, oh, that felt so good.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Vulnerability is affectability. Like, I allow myself, when you're sitting there, like, here's a great one. When people have compassion on me, so Justin will do this. He'll say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Your skin hurts so much." And what is the response you hate?
Oh, you'll say,
that's okay.
That's okay. Yep. And then I get really angry because I'm like, what is the point of me even saying anything and acknowledging this? It's just rejected.
Yeah. And so I've had to consciously learn that instead of deflecting, which is a great self-sufficiency thing, people feel like they're powerful if they don't need love or they don't need compassion or they don't need affirmation.
So saying that's okay, it's like, nah, I'm good. That's okay.
Yeah. Instead of, the truth is, here's actually the truth though. Every time you said it, it felt good. So what I've had to learn to do is say, thank you. Oh, thank you. And humans feel so uncomfortable just receiving.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I thought about, there's an individual in my mind where they would do for everyone. Right. And I would watch and observe from a distance where people would try and take care of them as well and do an exchange and then be like, no, I'm good. No, I'm good, over and over again, and turn opportunities away to be loved. And then I'd watch embitteredness. Yeah. Later on, where they would be like, no one cares. I do everything for everyone. And like brokenhearted and in this sense of self-pity because of their own self-rejection and their rejection of other people's love. And what eventually happened is that people stopped giving. Yeah. People stopped showing up and trying to meet needs because they got trained like, oh, this person is good. Yeah. They're self-sufficient. And then people wonder like, why don't I feel loved?
Yeah. And then sometimes they'll even say like, I don't understand why nobody offers to help me.
Totally.
And like, I understand you turn them down every time. You literally are training people. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So why don't you talk about your journey with self-sufficiency?
Yeah. So going back to the idea that from my childhood and as my further development went on, I just decided 1000% I am going to have to be a very capable, powerful person. And in some aspects of that, it developed some pretty cool things inside of me. Totally. And at the same time, it hindered me. It hindered aspects of love. And I've talked about this before in maybe a previous podcast, but going through my season of sickness and panic attacks kept chipping away at me. All of that chipped away because I had no capacity. I got to the end of my capacity to give something of myself away or to be powerful in any moment. And there was something, especially in my panic attack season, where I snapped so completely, where I fully felt like a fragile child. And I literally, part of the real deep process of breaking relationship with self-sufficiency was letting our friend Marcus show up in my life. And I would be so terrified of being alone and the potential that I might die while I'm alone, because that was part of the panic attack, was like, oh, I'm convinced I might die at any moment. And I would just be like, Marcus, will you come over and just be here with me? And so he would sit for hours on a couch and watch like Bob's Burgers or something like that with me. And he was giving fully of himself, his time, even just his time. And there was more than that, but his time often was things that he would give. And it wasn't like I needed someone to be profound. I needed someone to be.
Totally. You just needed someone with you.
And as I continued down that process, I got to a point in working through my complex PTSD and all of that, and how my whole life was based out of a fight or flight mode, a survival mode. And I saw self-sufficiency as this monster. And I literally went through a conversation where I said, self-sufficiency, I'm done with you. I no longer want you inside of my life. You are not yielding to me what you promise. You are not giving me the love and the care that I want and the sense of safety. I have felt so abandoned and alone in relationship with you. And it has kept people at a distance, disconnected from me. And so the minute I had an actual acknowledgement of my relationship with it and the idea that I wanted it out of my life. Again, I didn't let go of capability. Yeah. I'm a very capable person, powerful, capable person. I let go of my hiding behind that self-sufficiency. And when I did, it was like the depth of love really dug in really deep, where I progressively went from allowing people to take care of me in that mess to fully being able to absorb every act that someone would do. Yeah. whether it's sit down with me, whether it's buy me something. I was overwhelmed with a deep depth of gratitude. And a lot of people, because of their relationship with self-sufficiency, are very unhappy with life.
Yeah.
Because they can't get grateful for anything because they can't receive anything. Mm-hmm. Until you have the capacity to let something land on a very deep level, you can't actually feel the fullness of gratitude for it because you don't know the reality of its impact because you're not allowing it to have one.
Well, and one of the things I was just thinking about as you were saying that's really good, by the way. You should have a podcast because you are good at saying stuff that is important. Cheers.
I will drink to that. My passion fruit. LaCroix.
I can't drink LaCroix while doing podcasts because it makes me burp so much.
Yep.
Okay. So one of the things that I was thinking about is, so in this season, I kind of it was me hitting my breaking point the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm coming out of that. For those of you who have been on the journey with me, one, I am seeing some good results from Spain. There's still a lot of things that we're working through, but I have begun to see progress. And if you know anything with health issues, progress is beautiful.
Yeah.
But so I feel like I'm starting to come out of this season that was like so bad. I'm not out yet, but I'm working my way there.
Yeah.
But it was so hard. And sometimes I think what people don't understand is the hardest seasons, our hearts can be the most tenderized and the most impacted.
Yes.
And so lots of people fight against seasons where they're out of control or where everything feels hard or things feel chaotic. And I lean into them. I leaned into the vulnerability of, I don't have anything to offer my friends. I don't have anything to offer normally I'm like loving my friends and pouring into them and checking in on them and doing all that stuff. I had no capacity to do that.
Yeah.
I had no capacity to be super awesome at my job. I had no capacity. Working really hard and, whatever. I didn't have anything that I felt like I'm winning at right now.
Yeah.
And so I was like, awesome. This means I get to disassociate that I'm lovable from all of these things. I'm not lovable because I'm good at being a friend. I'm not lovable because I'm good at this career. I'm not lovable because of what I contribute to the world. I get to sit in the vulnerability and invite love into this moment where I don't have anything to offer.
And this is what I would call an identity revealing season. It's where the truth of our identity is revealed. It's when our ability to earn or perform for love gets fully stripped away.
Yep.
And we settle into a higher truth that we are a beautiful creation made by God, and that is all that matters. And that love and being created in and through that love is what makes us valuable.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that can add to our value or take away from our value.
Yeah. Yeah. Inviting love in. My whole life story has been about teaching people how to let love in, and what people don't want to do. They don't want to do the work to get to loving themselves, because the work to loving yourself means you have to face the unlovable places. The work to get not alone means you have to face your aloneness and let people in there.
Yes.
You have to face those places that you feel like you're going to be rejected and let people in there. Now, I want to make this clear, because this is the difference to me from needy to not needy is I wasn't going to my friends being like, I feel alone. I need you to love me enough that you silence my aloneness.
That's really great.
That's not what I was
super
bringing
necessary.
To them. Mm-hmm. I knew I have aloneness in my life from my history,
right.
And I'm going on the journey of breaking it. And one of the ways is I'm having a voice about it, and I'm allowing people in, but
allowing their love to affect you, but it didn't become your source where you were like, oh, I need you to do this so I'm better. It was like, no, I'm going to allow what you have to give to make an impact.
And it's like, I didn't pick one friend and be like, you need to be the person that makes me feel not alone for my whole life.
Yeah.
I had like 20 different people, and I didn't think you have to be the perfect friend now. It would be like, oh, you responded really well in this moment, and I'm allowing this one moment to impact me. And I don't know if I'll have another moment like that with you.
They may have the capacity for only one. Like I said, we may only have certain aspect or certain capacities to reflect love.
Right.
We have to go, okay, that was their capacity. Maybe they'll have a few more. I don't know.
And this is one of those things where it's like, if I'm asking you to solve my emotional problem, it's going to feel needy.
Yes, it's going to be taking from someone, and they're going to get wore out, because at the end of the day, I cannot fix anyone else.
Yeah. The interesting thing is I think I did a great job with you in this season of not asking you to heal my aloneness.
Oh yeah, you've actually done a really good job of that. And you've allowed yourself to, like you said, reach out to an
and
amalgamation
recognize
of people.
my child. What is my little kid aloneness? And I'm no longer saying that when I feel alone, it's your fault, Justin, that I feel alone.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is my childhood speaking up. This is my flashbacks. This is my triggers talking to me from my childhood. And once I recognized that most of my aloneness was, and I've done this with so many people, when you recognize that it's from your childhood, it's not from your current circumstances, you can go back and heal those parts of your childhood, which is so empowering that we have the ability to do that. And so I think it's that ownership of this is from inside of me, not you're causing me this, so you need to fix it.
So what you're really saying is that needy people, one of the aspects of a needy person is blame.
Yeah. They're a victim.
Accusation and blame. There's self-victimization of this is happening to me. I can't do anything about it. I need you to fix it. So that's that other end of the spectrum of I'm going to make everyone my source, whereas someone else on the end of self-sufficiency is I am my only source and other people are everyone else is my source.
Yes. And so I think the goal is for me, everything changed as I was able to, there's two different kind of things. Have God be my source.
Right.
That for me, that really stabilizes me. Because I have a source of love that I can be as needy as I want with.
Right.
And then also some practical life tools. Because the more I learn to reparent myself and not abandon myself and have a voice for myself, all of those things make me feel not alone. Yeah. I have so many options in healing. You know, even like I'm walking through this with one of my really close friends right now. She has a lot of aloneness. She's finally recognized it's from her childhood, not from her current situation. And she's in a situation that is pushing up all of her childhood aloneness. And I'm like, awesome. Now you get to make different decisions. So what she's doing now, when she was a kid, she just shut down and crammed it all inside and tried to get busy. As an adult, I'm like, okay, so you need to be reaching out to people and just sharing. And so she's not asking people to fix it, but she's just reaching out and being vulnerable. I'm having my aloneness come up. I'm having my triggers from my childhood come up. And her friends are just listening, and it's not like she has to talk to them for 5 hours every day, but it is, I'm engaging outside of myself and letting people know me while I'm having emotions before I fixed it, before it's all figured out. Because all that we really needed was to have somebody be with us.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we're talking about this because
well, it's interesting. I wanted to add this. When we talk about let someone be with us. When we get to that level of vulnerability to allow people in, it means we're also with ourselves.
Yes.
So we're getting present with ourselves and other people are getting present with us. And that aloneness starts shattering because like even in self-sufficiency, you're never actually really present with yourself.
Yeah.
You're just trying to cope and deal with what's going on inside. You're not stopping long enough to get down deep and go, what is happening here?
Yeah. I was just thinking about the irony that we didn't actually think through this, but now I'm going to say it because, so we have our Living Fully Alive course that we're about to put out signups for. And I was thinking about it because in the course, we actually are teaching people how to own their trigger and then how to let love in, how to receive love, how to not abandon yourself, how to be powerful, how to have a voice, how to receive compassion. But we do an entire teaching on why the power of being with, the power of validation, the power of getting that connection that you've always needed. And it's such a healing process. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I actually need to learn how to do this, we have a course. It's going to be January, Change Your Life 2021. We want to help people get out of the crap storm that 2020 has been.
Yeah. The dumpster fire that was 2020.
Yeah. Did you have something to say?
No, I was going to add to it that as a side note on it, we've developed an immersion program with that.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this.
So that people get a mentorship and community, and they get a place to be heard and have a voice. And
yeah, we literally designed it so you don't feel alone going through the process. This is why I like started getting tickled, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what we're sharing about is obviously on our hearts and minds, because we have been putting it all together, that we don't want people to have to be alone. And so we created a program for LFA. And if you've done LFA before, you can redo it and do the immersion program if you want at a discount. But if you haven't done LFA before, this is the time to actually do it. But the immersion program is, you get to be heard, you get to have coaching calls, you get to be connected to the other people around you. Like, you are going to love it's just not aloneness. It's doing deep heart, change your life work with everybody else who wants to be on the same page.
Yeah. As a side note, that's going to come out in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I'm getting pretty close to the launch of it. Even a little bit of a rebranded landing page and website, because we tried to spruce that up, clean it up, give a lot more clarity to what was there. And it's been a really exciting season. I've been pounding the pavement, working hard on that.
Yeah, you have. If you are interested though, right now, you want information, email LFA for Living Fully Alive
at stumballconsulting.com.
And then we'll send you all the information as it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, as a side note,
are we ending the podcast? I just got so distracted by, I was like, this is everything we're talking about.
No, we're not ending it. There's more to say on this. But as a side note, because you just brought me on this rabbit trail, we've been working overtime, especially me, on this new ebook.
Yeah.
That I created for people.
It's hysterical and super witty and wise.
So it's this mini ebook that I created for people to just give away for free as a gift, that people can just get some change in. It's called From Crappy to Happy. I think it's a 7 steps to a happy life.
But it's powerful, but it's freaking funny.
Yeah. So I created that, and that's going to be something that's going to be available probably.
Email us now and we'll put you on the list.
Yeah.
It'll be up
for all of it, and you'll be able to get it from justinabby.com is where all this stuff will be available.
But it's not there yet. So
it's not
email
there
us.
yet.
Don't give them information they don't need.
It'll be there in October.
LFA
October 2020.
at stumballconsulting.com.
Yeah, you can email us. So
back to self-sufficiency.
Self-sufficiency. Did you want to go with that? You talked about a third one.
Yeah. Okay. So I've kind of already introduced that person. It's the person who, because they don't want to be needy, like they sometimes are needy and sometimes they're self-sufficient, but in a way that they're never actually healing either side.
Yeah.
So it's like the person who's like, I don't care what we eat for dinner, but then has a meltdown later. It's that person that they have the dichotomy of, they're trying to not be a burden. And this happens to a lot of people. If you stuff down your emotions and your feelings and having wants and having a voice, eventually it'll pop up in other ways. So I see a lot of people who are like super easygoing, I say in quotes, and then like they have huge emotions about something else random that doesn't even matter because they were abandoning themselves. And so I think the goal is to allow people in and to affect you, but to not be. I was giving this picture to somebody today, and I was like, I see myself inside a circle, and I see everybody around me inside their circles. And codependency for me is when I leave my circle to go into someone else's circle. So maybe I want to make you happy, so I go into your circle, or I feel your emotions more than I feel mine, so I go into your circle, or I try to be who I think you want me to be, so I go into your circle. When I'm in my circle is when I know me and I'm connected to me, and that's the first step, and then I relate to the world from that place. So for me, healthy is I'm in my own circle, but I'm coming with vulnerability and allowing you to love me and to receive love, and then having love to give and offer. I
think when you say something like affectable, it's very easy maybe to misunderstand that. I think it's this idea, I want to add this. There's a difference between being affectable and being governed.
Yes.
Okay. And so there's the idea that I allow Abby to affect me. That means I allow her love to matter. And I also I've allowed her now close enough that if she has an affair on me tomorrow, there will be a lot of pain from that because my walls have come down and I've allowed her close enough. Now, I am not going to allow her, if she had an affair tomorrow, I would not allow that to govern my future.
Self-worth.
My self-worth, or the idea that I would just live in constant depression. I'd be like, no, I'm not going to allow you to have the power to destroy my life, but you have enough power that I was affected by that it mattered to me. Your life and your actions and your relationship actually matter to me, although they are not governing me or they are not my God.
Yeah. And I think for me, what I was thinking about is I have this client right now that I feel so much love for and purposefully love them in several ways. And I can literally see it ping off. Like they don't
ping off. Like ping, ping, where the bounce is off.
Yeah. They don't let it in. And I see this happen a lot with ego. I was thinking about this when I was growing up. There was like these guys that I'd be friends with and I would like love them in like a sisterly way, but like tell them the things I valued about them, all that stuff. And I could literally see when they would let it in, which is that place where they're affectable, where they like actually let it
they feel the goodness of it, the power of those actions.
Most of the time they put it in their ego. And that's like a ping spot. It comes right back to me.
So it put it in their ego of,
oh yeah, I'm the shit.
Yeah, this makes me super special, and it became an identity conversation.
Well, more like I could just see it feeding this false idea of who they are instead of them putting it into the vulnerable parts where they are actually letting it connect to them. So it's like this idea of, and I see this happen with people, they'll either let it feed their ego or they won't receive it at all. But very few people, like I've seen you, if somebody says something they love about you, you literally sit there, you think about it, and then you're like, thank you. That meant a lot to me. And you can feel that you took their compliment and you actually digested it and connected to it.
Because I don't allow their love to define me, but I allow it to affect me.
Yes.
Again, that's we're trying to get language in different ways for you guys to understand what we're trying to communicate here.
Because if you let people's love define you, you're a slave to them.
You're right. When someone would come to my office and give me a compliment on how I had affected their life, if I allowed it to go to ego place, I would be allowing it to define my value.
I have to always be this. I have to always do this for people. This is the only reason I have identity. This is the only reason I matter.
Whereas when I'm not in that ego place and they say that, I'm like, oh, wow, I touched their life and this is who I've been to them in this moment. And that felt nice that they said that. I feel loved by their expression. Okay. And tomorrow they could be really angry at me. I'm like, that's fine. That's still that love that you had to give didn't get dropped in the ego place. So I'm not now suddenly offended by your actions over here because it wasn't dropped in the ego place. But if someone loves you and it goes to the ego place, you'll know it because the minute they go on the other side and make a poor decision or action,
or they don't love you in that way,
don't love you in that way, you're offended because it went to ego.
Yeah. We have this is the last spiel I'll give. I'm so excited. I am more excited about living fully alive this year than any other year because of the immersion program, because it's like what I've been wanting to do every year. It just like now all of it has come together. But we have a session. And so if you don't know, it's a 4-month program and it's got all kinds of things. We won't go into that now, but we have a session about codependency. And that's really what we're talking about. People either know how to get all of their love from people or none of their love from people. And we're saying it's healthy to be able to love yourself and feel lovable and also receive love. And that is a hard balance. And so I tell people, don't try to be a perfectionist about being healthy. Healthy is not a religion. The idea is that we're just growing and learning every year to get a more balanced approach to loving and being loved.
And sometimes I don't even like the word healthy, although I use it. But I really like the word freedom. We are in stages of freedom. We're going from one level of freedom to the next where there's a little bit more liberty inside of our lives. And instead of like weighing whether or not I'm healthy, it's like, am I a little bit more free today than I was yesterday? That's beautiful.
Yep.
I like this nugget of freedom that I'm getting. This nugget of, and part of that freedom comes in the way of a higher truth about who we are and our value and our ability to let love in.
Yep. Okay, so if you want, you can check out, we have the Compassion Project at justinandabby.com.
Compassion Project at stumblconsulting.com.
One day we're going to have one website.
By October, they're all going to be consolidated.
One website.
And then within the next 5 months, we're going to have an amazing website because we're working on that too.
Yeah, things got slowed down when I quit working.
Yeah, but we've been slowly putting it together.
You're a boss. Can we just say you're a boss sauce? You've made this podcast keep happening while I've been sick. You have made our whole business. People out there should know, because people always compliment me. They're like, wow, you can do so much while you're sick. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I have a husband who does so much while I'm sick, and he graciously makes it so that we can do that around my schedule for my body. And so just shout out to you.
Oh, that was really kind of you. Yeah. I will allow that to land. Do you see how
you receive that?
I will absorb that.
Oh, it feels good loving you.
I want to say one last thing about self-sufficiency.
Don't do it.
If people are still listening.
Mm-hmm.
So this last thing is like, people stay self-sufficient because we believe that if I allow someone to truly love me, then I am in debt.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest fears to allow people in.
I can't believe we didn't talk about this. You are so right.
I am so right.
Oh gosh, you should be doing this.
And so in order for us to step out of self-sufficiency, we have to let go of our relationship with relational debt.
Yes.
So you have to begin to ask yourself, do I have relational debt in my life? And relational debt is when someone does something for me, maybe they give me money, maybe they do an act of service, maybe they take time out. Then all of a sudden I have this anxiety of like, oh my God, I owe them. And now I feel shame because, and so a lot of people suffer from relational debt that live in self-sufficiency because they've decided I cannot live a life where I'm constantly owing everyone. I'm good. I got this on my own. It's too much. And the truth is, if there was an actual true relational debt, that every relationship was based on having to keep everything equal in what we give and receive, no one could ever have a healthy, loving, sustaining relationship. Everyone would be burned out and broken by that. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, I don't even live in a pay it forward method. Like if someone loves me, I need to make sure I pay it forward. But what I'm saying when I'm about to say this is like, when people love me, I know that now I have more capacity to love, and that outlet might outlet back to them, or it might outlet in other places.
Yeah.
But I'm allowing myself to give freely what I'm receiving, and just allowing myself to be in the flow of that. And I'm not sitting there measuring from moment to moment. And the minute I got rid of my measuring stick is the minute like my world turned around.
That's so true. That's why people don't receive. That's one of the biggest things, is because then they feel trapped by it. They feel controlled by it. They feel powerless to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but here's the truth. If you let people love you, you'll naturally have more love. And so it'll be easy to give it to other people. It flows. The more people love me, the more I like loving them back. It's kind of true.
And allowing people to love us, even if we don't give back to them, I allow them to buy into my world.
Yeah.
When someone pays relational price through energy, time, emotions, whatever it happens to be, they've bought into my journey. They're closer to me now. And sometimes that is the gift for them.
Yeah.
Like to me, when you allow me to love you, I don't think you owe me for this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to be part of her world. That's so
how
cool
I feel too.
That I got to participate in this piece of her journey. And if you didn't, ultimately give anything back inside of that, I would be like, but it was fun giving and participating.
Totally. So true.
So.
Okay, well, we're so glad that you joined us for this chat. I feel excited about this episode. I feel excited about what's happening.
So start poking around on Justin and Abby, that's abi.com, in October, and you'll be able to get a hold of our free ebook, From Crappy to Happy.
Or email us, lfa@stumballconsulting.com.
And we can set you all up with that.
And we'll send you all the information for, listen, 2021, this is the year. Because 2020 was not.
2021
2020 is a great year to do what we're talking about. Let love in, be vulnerable.
And last but not least, suffering. You're like, what? 2020, because you talked about 2020 and 2021. People, 2020, suffering was an invitation to liberation. And that's what you need to understand as you're walking out the remainder of this and you're figuring out how to heal from some of the stuff that came up. Some of the stuff that came up didn't happen to you, it happened for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all of it, but I'm saying there's aspects of 2020 that are an invitational gift of like, oh, I went through some suffering, but it was unto a liberation inside of my life. And the why may not make sense to you, but the what is it for is what you can start asking. You may never have the whys to like, why did this happen? And so on and so forth. But the what is going to come from it? What is the beauty that can rise from the ashes of 2020? That's something that you need to start asking yourself. And hopefully that's something that can be answered if you jump into living fully alive for yourself.
Isn't it exciting that a new year's coming soon?
Yeah.
I didn't even think
I'm just
about
excited
that.
for the election so everything just stops. Because the minute that happens, it'll be like, oh, back to normal.
I hope. I don't know. It depends what happens.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Well,
thanks for joining us, everyone.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.